watercolors. This is Mrs. McIlvain from Archway Glendale. I'm so glad you could join me today. We're going to be learning a lesson from a cracked pot. It's a great story, and as soon as we're done with it, we're going to go right into an art activity. So join me now as we read the story of the cracked pot. Once upon a time, a woman named Chang Chang worked for a merchant in Sichuan province. The merchant's home was high atop a hill, and Chang Chang worked as the merchant's laundress. Every day she had to walk down the hill to collect water from the stream. When she was young, Chang Chang made 2 pots to carry her water, and these she hung upon a pole she could carry over her shoulders. She painted one pot blue and the other red, and on each pot she painted flowers. Chang Chang loved flowers, and she loved her pots. For some years, she carried her pole down the hillside and collected water. Afterward, she would climb up the hill. She was strong and able, though she was growing older, and as time passed, the pots too grew older. One day, as Chang Chang prepared to place the pole over her shoulders, she noticed the blue pot had a slender crack along its side. She ran a finger over the crack and sighed, "My poor little pot." For a few moments, Chang Chang studied the crack. "Will you hold my water?" she whispered, but she decided she could still use the pot. As always, she carried both pots down the hill and filled them with water to the very brim. By the time she reached the hilltop, the pot with a crack was half empty, but this still left her plenty of water for doing the laundry. For the next 2 years, Chang Chang carried those pots down the hillside every morning. When she reached the stream, she filled them to the brim, and afterward, she walked back up the hill, balancing the pole across her shoulders. By the time she reached the house, the cracked blue pot was only half full, just enough for the laundry. Each day, Chang Chang examined the crack, and though it was growing a little longer, she decided all was well. What she didn't notice was that the poor blue pot was miserable. Each time it drank from the stream, it secretly hoped that this day all the water would stay inside its belly. But each day, when they reached the top of the hill, the pot knew it had failed. The blue pot glanced at the red pot and saw water filled to the top, and the blue pot began to feel desolate. In its resting place on the far side of Chang Chang's little hut, the blue pot worried and wept. "I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good," the blue pot wailed. "Stop your whining," the red pot answered. "No one wants to hear from a pot." One day, the blue pot woke and felt its crack beginning to expand. It was certain Chang Chang would decide to throw it away. Soon it would be no use to anyone for anything. That morning, as Chang Chang climbed the hill, she was startled to hear a voice she had never heard. "Chang Chang," the voice said, "throw me away. I'm no good for anyone or anything." Chang Chang stopped and looked around, wondering who could be speaking to her. "Hello?" she called down the hill. But the voice that answered was very near. "I'm right here," said the blue pot, swinging this way and that to get Chang Chang's attention. "I am your pot, the pot you made with your own 2 hands. The pot that has served you so well all these years. But I see now my time is finished. The crack in my side has made me useless. When you carry me up the hill, I spill all my water. I'm no good." For a long moment, Chang Chang stood very still and amazed that her pot had spoken. "Is that you?" she whispered, looking close. "Are you speaking, dear pot?" "It is." The pot said, "I am sorry I have failed you, but I have." Chang Chang was overjoyed to know her pots were as full of life as she had always imagined, but she was sad to hear such sorrowful words. "But pot, you don't understand," she said. "You haven't been paying attention. Look around." Chang Chang pointed to the path beside them, the path up the hill, and for the first time the pot stopped looking inward and instead looked out. On the right side of the hill, the pot noticed beautiful flowers growing in abundance. Poppies, peonies, and chrysanthemum, and narcissus, and citron. A ribbon of color edged the path. And look at the other side of the hill, Chang Chang said. The pot glanced to the other side and saw it was bare. I've always known about your flaw, Chang Chang said, and so I planted seeds on your side of the path. And every day you watered them and added more beauty to the world. The blue pot was overjoyed. All its sadness was gone. It understood, just as Chang Chang always had, that every being has its unique flaws. And it is our little quirks and faults that make us and the world so interesting. Now, it's important to form good habits and work to improve, but part of being human is having areas where we can grow. The joy comes in the growth and seeing how being ourselves can make the world around us beautiful. Would you like to do a less than perfect craft with me today? I'm going to bring in a special guest helper. It's my daughter, Gracie. Gracie, come on in. This is Gracie. She's in 5th grade at Archway Glendale, and in the fall she'll be going to Glendale Prep. Now she say hi to all the scholars.
Hi, scholars.
So what we're going to do, you need one of these two items. If you have some markers, these happen to be washable, or if you have some watercolors, you can use that. But first, before you do anything, you need to talk to your parents to get permission, your mom or dad, or whoever is there with you, and get a working space. We're using my kitchen today on our island, and we're going to do a craft. So the first thing you'll need is you need to get a pair of scissors. You need to get a piece of paper, either your watercolors or your markers. You'll need some paintbrushes if you're doing the watercolors, and something of water to rinse out the paintbrushes if you're doing it. So go ahead and get those. You can pause me right now if you need to, and then restart when you have all your items together. And what you're going to do is let's do this to make it a little bit easier for you to track. We're going to fold the paper exactly in half, and then take it and fold it up again exactly in half. This is going to give you a guideline of cutting your paper. So we're going to cut it up. We're basically going to complete the cut, and we'll end up with 4 pieces of paper. So here's 2, and this will make the 4th one. There's your 4th one. So we have 4 pieces of paper. Now what we're going to begin to do is you take the piece of paper, go ahead and grab yours, Gracie, and you're just going to crumple it up, okay? Go ahead and get your pens out, your watercolors ready, and we're going to begin the craft. Grace is going to be doing it with the markers today, and I'm going to be doing it with the watercolors. If you're painting, you're going to go ahead, since it's watercolors, you need to get your brush a little wet. And it doesn't matter the colors you pick. Just randomly pick ones that you like. And we're going to start to paint the outside of this all over. Okay? And then you're going to open it up. There you go. And you're going to crumple it again. And there's a reason we're doing this. It's going to help cover the entire page. And so you get a little water and pick another color. And Gracie over here, she's doing the same thing of crumbling it, picking a color, and then putting the color on the paper. And it's going to look a little funny, like everything's mixing together, but it actually will go very well. Okay, Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this looks like. That's the piece of paper that I just did. You might end up getting a little tear. That's okay. So here's the piece of paper that shows all the different colors. And we'll have Gracie pull hers out. And when you do all 4 of yours, and we have here, we were able to do some in advance, you'll end up with a display. We'll hold them together there. They're not attached to paper. I got a little background. She has like a lime green, ivy yellow. And this shows you the artwork it turns into. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't matter if you made mistakes. Nothing's perfect. But it turns into a beautiful little art project. You can attach those with glue to paper, and you can hang it up on your refrigerator. You can hang it up in your room, or maybe a parent's office. They can have it for their office. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned a lot from the cracked pot. I thank Gracie for joining me and helping do the 2 segments that you can pick from. Have an amazing day, and thank you again. Remember, you can see other Virtual Athenaeum activities and lessons. Have a great day.